Welcome back to RHC Shorts. This is the third video in a series where we're going over key concepts related to rural health clinics in shorter form presentations as opposed to our more typical hour-long plus webinar formats. If you have a topic related to RHCs that you'd like us to tackle in a video like this, definitely leave us a comment and let us know. Today's topic is probably going to be a pretty short one to cover. We're going to talk about influenza, pneumococcal, and COVID vaccines, and specifically we're going to take a closer look at Worksheet B-1 of the cost report. So we'll go ahead and jump right into this. Before we get to Worksheet B1, as with most things in the cost report, we're actually going to start on Worksheet A. Lines 30, 31, 3110, and 3111 is where vaccine costs kind of start. Usually what happens is they'll start in line 25, medical supplies, and then will be reclassified to these lines based on invoices that show actual costs specifically related to the vaccines. But once they're in these lines, that's where Worksheet B1 comes in. And those values are uh, imported over into line 4 on Worksheet B1. Now, Worksheet B1 is where the magic happens as it relates to vaccines on the cost report. Lines 1 through 3 calculate the labor cost associated with giving the vaccines. Then that amount is then added to line 4, which is the materials cost that I mentioned earlier. Those are then added together, and line 5 gives us that total direct cost of injections. And then lines 5 through 9, right here, are used to calculate overhead cost. Then line 10 adds together lines 5 and 9 to give us a total costs for injection for each of these sections. Lines 11 through 14 are going to determine how much of that total is applicable to Medicare beneficiaries. There was a brief period before 2022 and only applying to COVID vaccines and monoclonal antibody products where Medicare Advantage patients were included as well. That is not the case anymore. And going forward, monoclonal antibody products overall will only be reimbursable by this methodology on Worksheet B1 when used as a preventative. If it's used for a treatment, then it will be reimbursed on the all-inclusive rate, meaning that the cost for it will be allowable, but it will not be included as part of Worksheet B1 reimbursement. The amounts for each of these columns is totaled up on lines 10 and lines 14, summed together of the columns, and then those values are put into lines 15 and 16, where they are then transferred to Worksheet C. Now, Worksheet C, you might remember from our discussion on Medicare bad debt. We also looked at it briefly in our discussion of cost per visit, because this is where a lot of the cost report is summarized. Now, as we're talking about this page, I need to note a slight correction to our video about cost per visit. One thing that I forgot to mention is that the costs that are calculated on B1, the cost that we've been talking about for these vaccines, is actually removed from the allowable cost total before it is used as the numerator in the cost per visit formula. These costs are still reimbursed on the cost report. That happens on line 23, where the cost applicable to Medicare beneficiaries, which was totaled in line 16 on Worksheet B1, that amount is included here and included in your cost report settlement. So it's still an allowable cost. It's just not being included in your cost per visit, and it's being reimbursed through a slightly different methodology. And you're getting it all at once on this cost report settlement. Now, in order to get that reimbursement, you do have to jump through one hoop in order to claim it. Similar to Medicare bad debt, though not nearly as in depth, you do have to keep a log. You're going to want to keep a separate log for flu, pneumococcal, COVID-19, and if you're providing them, then monoclonal antibody products as well. You just need to include patient name, their Medicare number, and the date of service, and then the total number that is on these logs for your cost reporting period is what's going to go in line 13 on Worksheet B1. You don't have to keep a log on all your patients, just your Medicare patients. You just need to have a total of all of your patients who received these vaccines, and then keep the log for your Medicare patients who received them. Like I said, this one's a pretty short one. There's not a whole lot to it. So, as usual, if you haven't checked out the RHC Information Exchange Facebook group, definitely go check that out. And also check out our website at ruralhealthclinic.com. If you want to learn more about cost reporting, check out our playlist on that. If you want to watch some more of these RHC shorts, check out those as well. That's all that I have for today.